been instrumental in covering up
What it is, everybody. I'm going to open with a video here from Jake Morphonios and End Times News Report. He's been covering the Las Vegas case. This is part 42 of his case investigation. And it has some evidence that I think is a little controversial, but I wanted you to show it. It's a recent release I wanted you to see it, I should say. It's a recent release from him. And then I'll play my intro and see you on the other side.
Accomplices. Do we have any evidence to support Chuck's story that there was some kind of tactical response to a mercenary going on around the casino floor between the Mandalay Bay and the Delano Hotel? Well, first, let's revisit some video footage that I had previously shared with you. I had first seen this footage over dinner with Laura Loomer and Jason Goodman when we were at the Luxor Hotel. I later retraced the steps and got some footage of the exact location that this event took place. This was taken by a person who had been inside the Mandalay Bay casino during the shooting. Something had happened inside the casino itself that caused people to panic. One of the people who was fleeing from the casino floor inside the Mandalay Bay managed to get their cell phone out, and they recorded a few seconds of the chaos. The footage is choppy because it was recorded on the move. The person was taping as they were going up an escalator, which I'll show you later on. This is happening just on the other side of the casino floor. What the clip shows is a human body lying face down at the edge of the casino floor next to a pillar, a column, with 3 Las Vegas Metro police rushing in with rifles drawn. And you can only see the person's legs from their knees down because the pillar is blocking the rest of their body. The person has on black shoes. Some say that in the clip it looks like the legs are moving or the feet are moving. Others say that the legs only appear to move because the camera is wobbly. Laura thinks that there may be a white towel or a sheet over the body, but it may very well just be the color of this person's clothing. Because the video was shot while moving and because it was zoomed in, it's not that the camera was bad. You know how it is. When you zoom in really tight, it gets very pixelated. So it's hard to see. I've tried to clean it up a bit and stabilize the video as best I can. Sorry I can't get it better than this, but I'm going to play this clip for you 3 times at various speeds and let you watch for yourself.
You see the alleged legs here? That's what you're looking at. Look close.
Well, clearly this is captured inside the Mandalay Bay Casino. So I went through the casino to the exact spot where this original video had been recorded, and I taped my own footage so that you can see the scene more clearly. Here it is. What we saw in that video was law enforcement moving through the casino complex with long guns, clearly looking for a shooter. On the ground was a body. While it was not in this video, I saw additional footage that showed the law enforcement closer to the body itself. But at the time, I wasn't able to do more than speculate as to the time of the event, because there was no timestamp on the footage that I saw. However, with Chuck's additional testimony, we can now begin to flesh out the scenario a little bit more. Chuck said that he believes that law enforcement swept through the casino sometime around 10:15 p.m. We know from police scanner audio that law enforcement was fully aware that rapid gunfire was coming from near the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay and possibly from further down in the center of the hotel as well. The last shots from the 32nd floor took place around 10:15 p.m. But at that time, law enforcement did not yet know that the shooting was over. And yet, rather than commit all their officers to engaging the known shooter upstairs, officers were hunting a mercenary accomplice down in the casino complex for some reason. Obviously, that is because law enforcement had reason to believe that there were multiple gunmen.
Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. What it is, everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday of a happy weekend. And it is sunny California here. It's been really nice. Really nice where I live. You're jealous, actually, right now. If you only knew. I played you that intro from, or the video I introduced this with, and I added a link to the description to properly credit Jake Morphonius of End Times News Report. He works with a lot of different people who are, maybe shady characters themselves, like Jason Goodman and Laura Loomer, who he said he met with. But you can't blame these people. You don't know everybody's motivations, and it's a strange industry, this YouTube artist thing. A lot of controlled opposition, a lot of varying motives. I've been under attack by some of those people before. Some of those people who claim to be on the right wing and have conspiracy theory news and stuff. But we're building bridges again, aren't we? So what do I think of that video? Well, I just wondered what you guys thought. I was watching the comments in the chat, and people were saying, oh, someone said, that's feet. There's the still picture from Laura Loomer's video. I don't know who Laura got it from, but there's your legs right there, and you can see whether they move or not. He said it's someone laying on their stomach. I don't know. And claims basically that it was somebody who got shot, I think, and then that they were chasing an active shooter on the showroom floor. I say showroom, the casino floor, because they came in with long guns afterwards. So I like Jake Morphonius. I think he's gotten a lot of good stuff. And I think I believe all of his stories. Those are the guys coming in with long guns. They don't look particularly juiced up, actually, in that picture. All I'm going to say is I don't know if there's a body there. I think it's jumping to conclusions. It's a little bit of a reach, maybe, to say for sure that that's a body and for sure that there were shooters on the casino floor. But in conjunction with him also having a witness who claimed to come down onto the casino floor and then come into something smelling of gunfire, you got to take some, you might give some credence to it. So I wanted to show it to you because it's more of the news about Las Vegas not being like what they said it was. And I'll leave this video up, even though when I've talked about Vegas before, it's gotten me in trouble. I'm not calling anything fake or making fun of anybody or saying anybody didn't die, that's for sure. People did die. It was a false flag of sorts. The final story, not final, but the consensus story now among the people that I trust more, and also from my own research, which I did quite a bit on Las Vegas, is that it was a Saudi job and it was an attack on Trump. I don't know that Trump was there and they were trying to kill him, but people say that might be the case. At the same time as Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince in Saudi Arabia. That is more agreed upon. So I'm going generally with the consensus because I watch a lot of stuff. I listen to a lot of people, and the consensus is, even though I don't think the video shows bin Salman leaving the casino, I don't think that's him. His beard isn't beardy enough, and he has and the tactics of the people guarding him are terrible. He's totally exposed. If you've seen that video, I don't have it queued up for you, but there's video of a Saudi-looking gentleman in Western clothes, like shorts and a t-shirt, walking behind some armed security. And people say that's evidence that bin Salman was at the Tropicana, I believe, that it was an assassination attempt, and also a message to Trump that they were in control, could do whatever they want. And then we have that backed up by the events in Saudi Arabia, which Trump was behind, saying they got a bunch of evil people, which they did, including bin Talal, who was not a good person, and a major investor in Twitter, and a major investor in the Four Seasons, which has the top 2 floors of Mandalay Bay. And it sounds like something was going down there. People got extricated by helicopters. That means they took them out. For those of you who didn't score perfect on your SATs, they were pulled out by helicopters, which were flying with their transponders off. So there has been a lot of great research into Las Vegas. A lot of it wasn't allowed to be on YouTube. I was flagged for a video where I simply took phone calls. And it was called a Question the Narrative, Las Vegas Question the Narrative call-in show. And I put hoax in the tags. I think that's what got me. The AI maybe got me. Put hoax in the tags. Then they striked it, and then I was shocked that my appeal didn't go through. And then I made a video directing traffic off the platform, which I didn't realize was a big no-no, and I got another strike on my first backup channel, which I got up to about 5,000 subs after my main channel got shut down. You guys know about all that, though. You guys know about all that. Things are going well here so far, but I do my show live on Twitch. That's the thing. So people are watching there right now, but in case shit hits the fan and this channel goes away and I can't do live shows here, you can always find live shows at twitch.tv/lifttheveil411. Twitch.tv/lifttheveil411. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. It's delightful in my dad's garage today. It's 68 degrees. I bring you the truth full time. I realize there aren't many people out there who do a show like every day for a few hours, and there's nobody that takes phone calls. So it's an exciting show to be a part of. I have to tell you, in case you didn't know, it's an exciting show to be a part of. In case you're excited about it, I'll give you my ad up front. You can go to my shop, lifttheveil411.com. Look, I could switch that out for this. lifttheveil411.com. And you can get swag, I think they call it, gear, stickers, mugs, and t-shirts. Everything limited edition. Everything limited edition. The black t-shirt I'm wearing now is, oh, there's Doshi. Great. He came in time for my commercial. This thing is mostly sold out. Mostly sold out. Extra large is almost sold out. Large is sold out. It looks great on ladies. Very nice European cut shirt. These were printed in the UK. And then I have white ones. Anyway, You guys can figure it out. That's enough for my commercial. But it really supports the show, and the show's worth supporting is all I'm saying. Because I do work really hard, even when I supposedly take days off. Doshi, man, he kills it every single time. He's looking good, isn't he? That's what everybody tunes in for anyway. So that's the news on Las Vegas. I wanted to give it to you since I put it in the title. I'm going to cover the Rothschild helicopter crash, which a lot of people are really interested in. Okay, let me change this to Twitch again. There. I'm going to cover the Rothschild helicopter crash. So should I just go to the news on it? It's really suspicious. Sort of suspicious, depending on what your mindset is. There was a crash between a small plane and a helicopter right outside of the Rothschild estate, right outside of a Rothschild managed estate, which a Rothschild still lives in. Okay? 4 people, 4 allegedly perished in the crash. There's some, one of the 4 victims has not yet been identified, mysteriously. Going back in time, Q, famous Q from 4chan, Q Clearance Patriot, who you guys have been hearing about if you've been watching this, has been writing a lot of stuff predicting a storm. Donald Trump and his team rounding up all of the criminals that have been running this world for the past however many decades. Rounding up the criminals, finally. And what we saw in Saudi Arabia, I believe, was that. So Q has some legitimacy. In addition to his picture that looked like it might have been out of Air Force One. That's very, very interesting information. I don't know what to think of the Q entity, which could be male, female, or multi-gender. Not one person be a multi-gender, but more than one person writing the Q post. It's possible. Q says that there's like a triangle of evil, and it was Saudi Arabia as far as like funding for all the evil forces like Clinton and globalism and terrorism, Saudi Arabia, George Soros, and the Rothschilds. You heard already. It's worth playing over and over again, isn't it? Because it's only 2.5 minutes. I'll play it here. People really enjoy seeing this. It seems like it's okay to play it at any time. So Saudi Arabia happened. We have the 3 things. Saudi Arabia is royal family, basically. Soros and the Rothschilds. Okay. So Saudi Arabia we got covered. Then we did get a surprise speech from Nigel Farage in the EU, in an EU meeting of some sort, talking about George Soros. So let me play that because it's short.
Mr. Farage, 2.5 minutes.
Thank you. As Mr. Moscovici said at the start of this, the leak of all these papers and lists of people with offshore holdings has come about because of the Society of Investigative Journalists. But what's not been said this morning, and I think is relevant, is that the funding of these investigations came from one George Soros. Now, I say this at a time, I'm going to come back to so what, and it may have some personal interest for you as well. I say this at a time when the use of money and the influence it may have had on the Brexit result or the Trump election has reached a level of virtual hysteria. Just last week, the Electoral Commission in the UK launched an investigation to find out whether the Leave campaign took offshore money or Russian money. This came about as a result of questions asked in the House of Commons by one Ben Bradshaw, somebody linked to an organisation called Open Society. I just wonder, when we're talking about offshore money, when we're talking about political subversion, when we're talking about collusion, I wonder whether we're looking in the wrong place. And I say that because George Soros recently gave Open Society, his organisation, which of course campaigns for free movement of peoples and supports supranational structures like the European Union, he recently gave it $18 billion. And his influence here and in Brussels is truly extraordinary. Open Society boast that they had 42 meetings last year with the European Commission. They've even published a book of reliable friends in the European Parliament. And there are 226 names on that list, including yours, sir. I thought you'd find this interesting. We even had last week Mr. Verhofstadt lobbying on behalf of Mr. Soros at the Conference of Presidents in a battle that is going on with Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary. If we're going to have a debate and we're going to talk about full political and financial transparency, well, let's do it. So I should be writing today to all 226 of you, asking some pretty fair questions. Have you ever received funds, directly or indirectly, from Open Society? How many of their events have you attended? Could you please give us a list of the meetings of all the representatives, including George Soros yourself? And I think this Parliament should now set up a special committee to look into all of this. And I say that because I fear we could be looking at the biggest level of international political collusion in history.
Okay, that's Nigel. That's the guys the Hoaxstead trolls don't like. The Hoaxstead trolls who protect pedophiles and come after my channel. So I covered this in another video that, oddly enough, is fairly popular. But I'm going through the crash because there are new details. So I'm just going through the details of it. From the 13th of November, 4 days before the crash, you have a post from Q, a quick one. Distress calls to others will do you and your family no good at this stage. We know where you and the family are at all times and can hear you breathing. Q. And he has in brackets these three letters, capital L, lowercase d, capital R, as in Linda Rothschild. And subsequent to this tweet, Linda Rothschild sent out her own tweet calling Donald Trump old and pathetic. When will he be gone and disgraced for all to see? No one will cry for his demise. We will celebrate when that happens and decency is restored to our great USA. Okay, now we have the crash. Maybe we're being speculative, but we like speculating on this show. That's something that's still allowed on YouTube, I believe. Helicopter pilot, this is from the Daily Mail. Helicopter pilot and student with 9 weeks of training at the controls of the light aircraft named the first two victims in mid-air crash near Rothschild's Buckinghamshire estate. The helicopter was flown by a 30-year veteran pilot, Captain Mike Green, perished. He was taking a passenger on a sightseeing flight at the time of the fatal crash. Passenger not identified. The Cessna was carrying a student training to be a commercial air pilot, and that guy's name is Savan Munday, 18, who died alongside his flight instructor, Jaspal Barha. This guy who was flying, so you have a few people, both flying from this nearby place, Wickham, High Wickham, something like that, where there's an airfield where people fly training flights. This is the guy. They say he's like the greatest pilot of all time. This is the 18-year-old kid who supposedly was flying the flight. That's what the helicopter looks like. That's what the plane looks like. They say the instructor was the greatest instructor in all of the UK, basically. Here are some quotes about him. He was probably, this is a quote from a former colleague, Captain Phil Croucher. Quote, he was probably the most well-respected instructor in the country. He achieved a very high position within the Army as an instructor. He was an absolutely dedicated instructor. If you wanted a training instructor, there's no one more highly qualified. Almost everybody in the country has been instructed by him. Most instructors have been trained by him. That's the guy who was flying the helicopter with an as yet unidentified passenger. We're just having fun here. We don't know what happened. And our sympathies go out to the deceased, whoever they may be. This is another article from The Telegraph. this is curious. 4 people have been killed in a midair collision between a helicopter and light aircraft flying from an airfield where air traffic control had been shut down due to quote-unquote staff shortages. Members of the Rothschild reported hearing a loud bang and a plume of smoke could be seen above the trees. So you actually had a Rothschild nearby. I guess let's take a look at the thing about air traffic control services being shut down. A notice to airmen was previously issued to warn pilots the airfield's air traffic control services would be closed during 3 30-minute periods on selected days between November 7th and 30th due to a quote-unquote staff shortage. The crash occurred around a half an hour after the latest closure was due to end, but it didn't end. There was a firefighter who witnessed the whole crash, apparently, and there was someone else, a member of the Rothschild family, said the collision missed her by 5 minutes. That woman, who would not give her name, said she heard a loud bang while she was driving her car to a dog grooming event. Just 5 minutes earlier, she had been picking a plant in the Wilderness Woods, the scene of the crash site, on the Waddesdon estate. Then there was a guy working in the woods who said that he heard a noise. This guy, Len Bellis, Waddesdon estate gardener. He heard a horrendous noise and then saw 2 men running towards him from the woods, shouting, "Did you see it? Did you see it?" And he came up to the wreckage, and it was a wreck and non-existent, apart from a 5-foot burning fuselage. Anyway, this might turn into a non-story, but it's interesting. It's interesting to think about. People are fascinated by the Rothschilds. So I wanted to give you an update on that, okay? Now we're going to talk about Hillary Clinton. We're going to talk a little bit about sexual misconduct. I have an interview from Hillary Clinton. Let's see if I can give you an update. I can tell you on camera so you can see Doshi. There are a lot of sexual abuse allegations out there in the world. It is hitting both sides. Roy Moore, it's mostly been characters that would be described as being on the left. First with Harvey Weinstein, a major supporter of the Hillary Clinton campaign. And then through the list of Hollywood, who they've gone after, Kevin Spacey, for example, and then even going after Papa Bush, he's grouped in with the same team. He's on the Clinton team, the New World Order team. People would say Republican in name only. Mr. George H.W. Bush. I don't think anybody has sympathy for the Bushes, not who watches this show. So they were hit. Then Roy Moore gets hit, Republican candidate, and the Democrats go after him, and the Republicans, actually, for that matter. Then Al Franken gets hit. And then Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, but by extension, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump now are back in the shit because of Roy Moore and Al Franken. Because now they're saying, okay, we're believing everybody's allegations, like against Roy Moore, for example. We're not allowing slut shaming or smear attacks on these women who are giving no reason not to believe them, is what people are saying. I have no reason to doubt what they're saying, their testimonies. And you have plenty of evidence that Roy Moore was a creep, at least was a creep. It seems like, I mean, it would have to be quite a conspiracy for them to come up with all the stories they did. The left is condemning Roy Moore. The right is condemning Al Franken. But both sides have to admit that if they're going to do that, then they have to also look again at, if they're going to go after Roy Moore for what people said about him, then they're going to have to go after Bill Clinton and reconsider all the stories that came forward from all those different women who accused him of sexual misconduct and where there was evidence that they were right and they were slut shamed and discredited, and Hillary Clinton took a part in it, right? Now, so you guys might think it's great because now they're going after Bill Clinton, but they have to go after Donald Trump too because it's the same story. I didn't believe I figured it was all a setup. It might be. Okay. So Donald Trump, the reason it seemed like a setup was that you had what should I say it? The pussy grabbing tape from Access Hollywood. That dropped like a bomb. Then, okay, it was very well choreographed. Pussy grabbing tape. Then Anderson Cooper at the end of the debate, I believe it was the end, he said, did you ever grab any, did you ever do that is what he asked. And Donald Trump denied doing it. Then the stories broke, I think in the Washington Post. The story broke that a lot of women say he did exactly that. It was all too perfect, wasn't it? Tape, question, denial, and then proof that that's exactly what he did. And it happened to be exactly what he said, which I think was kind of locker room talk. Mostly Billy Bush's fault, He was the one that really prodded it on. And yeah, you can't say that meant. Hillary Clinton will tell you he admitted to sexual assault. Many people who voted for Donald Trump don't think that he admitted to sexual assault by saying that because he's famous, he can grab women by the pussy and they don't mind. Should I not say that? It sounds kind of dirty. Doshi might not like it either. This is supposed to be a family show. They say it in the news, though. They say it all over the place, like it's no big deal. It's pretty, I don't know if it's family friendly is all. But that was when we weren't listening to women when they came forward, or alleged victims of abuse when they came forward. During that time, we weren't listening. Now, since Las Vegas, and since the Harvey Weinstein story broke, we are listening and we are believing. That's our default now, rather than thinking, oh, she wanted it or she was a slut or whatever, which we must have been doing before. I don't know. Either that or we just weren't sufficiently elevated in our consciousness. This, I believe, is evidence that we are elevating our consciousness together, and our collective consciousness, our collective consciousness. Also, I think it's a sign of that. And things changed. I'll tell you again. Things changed October 1st at the Las Vegas event. That's when all of this went into motion on the spiritual planes, as well as the physical, because as above, so below. We learned that in our Hermetic text and elsewhere, even in the Bible, believe it or not. So I'm telling you guys, even though it's good that they're going after Bill Clinton and it's great, they're also going to have to go after Donald Trump. It puts both sides in a bit of a tizzy. So I'm going to play Hillary Clinton appeared. Okay, let me play you from our propaganda radio network, NPR, what the liberals are saying about it. Okay? Let me see if this is it.
To do that.
My answer
Here.
to that is that Donald Trump had a fantastic teacher in how to handle these accusations of sexual assault, and his name was William Jefferson Clinton. Deny, 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 marginalize, slut shame. So I think that if we are going to really hold Trump to account for this hideous string of accusations, and remember, there's not one single woman accusing him of anything as grave as Juanita Broaddrick has consistently accused Bill Clinton. We as Democrats should stand up and say we were on the wrong side of history. We made a profound error. We apologize to these women for what was done to them by our own side. And therefore, with a clean conscience, we can go forward and say, once again, we have a sexual abuser in the White House. And that is something that is profoundly wrong and should be on everyone's mind for 2020.
That's Caitlin Flanagan. She's a contributing editor at The Atlantic.
We get a lot of propaganda from NPR, but that's what the liberals are saying now, that because they want to go after Trump, which I think they do. Hold on, I'm going to go over the dick in the sky. Because they want to, I'm going to cover the dick in the sky, since we were talking about the P word too, just to balance it out for everybody. I just clicked on that tab by accident, but I'll give you a preview. Speaking of Juanita Broaddrick, Chelsea Handler, noted Hillary Clinton supporter, has come out recently and says she believes Juanita Broaddrick, that Bill Clinton raped her, and that was because she just looked into the case and decided she believed her. After Juanita Broaddrick said that there was a molester in the White House, she said, "I'm sorry" to Juanita Broaddrick. Chelsea Handler, it's a sign of things. NPR says we have to look at Bill Clinton. Democratic senator said that Bill Clinton should have resigned. Hillary Clinton just recently, in the last 2 days, did an extensive interview with WABC Radio with Rita Cosby. And she asked some pointed questions. And the amusing thing to me was simply listening to Hillary Clinton tie herself in knots, trying to excuse the behavior of Bill Clinton and Al Franken. And she's just incredibly partisan. And then accused the Republicans of just being the worst people on earth and the only ones that have a problem with sexual abuse. Okay? It is hard to understand her argument much of the time. And that's why it's fun to listen to. She really ties herself in knots.
Her new memoir.
I marked a few places, but we will listen to this for a bit because Hillary Clinton is insane. And it shows you what kind of crazy world she lives in. Not in the same world as the rest of us.
Roy.
Hold on.
You know,
Political ally.
and what
Let's
we
see. It starts right
can
about
see
here.
in terms of the people, the women who are still speaking out about their experiences with him should be overlooked or forgotten.
Now, you talk about women and that they should be believed. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, your longtime friend and political ally, said in an interview this week that your husband should have resigned after his affair with Monica Lewinsky. What do you say to that?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what she was trying to say. There has been some confusion about it, but look.
By the way, this is her greatest response. She says, Kirsten Gillibrand said your husband should have resigned when these charges came out against him. What do you think of that? And Hillary says, I don't know what she's trying to say. Well, what does she need, a translator? She says he should have resigned when the allegations came out. I don't know. I wish I could interview people. Oh, I have one tomorrow. I'll tell you about it later. Okay, I'll keep playing.
Look, this was a painful time, not only in our marriage, but in our country, as I've written about. But it was investigated fully. It was addressed at the time. He was held accountable. That is very different than what people seem to be remembering from that period, because you can go back and look at the history. But right now, this is not a distraction we should fall for. The Republicans are led by a man who admitted to sexually assaulting women. He bragged about it, and if we're going to encourage women to have the courage to be heard, we can't excuse the president from this debate. And look, the right and the Republican Party needs to answer for their own acts and tell America that what Roy Moore and the president did will not be tolerated.
But how is that different than the allegations against your husband? Because do you concede that your husband might not have lasted in office if that happened today?
Well, I don't know that we can rewrite and revise history, but look, if the Justice Department wants to assign a special counsel to investigate President Trump, that's the parallel. If they want to spend $70 million investigating every allegation that anyone might make against him, that would be in line with what happened in the 90s. She's
bitter. She says because they investigated him, he's off the hook. Anyway, she's still bitter about that investigation. She can't let go of certain things.
So if we want to hold people accountable, that happened in the 90s. And I think that that's the parallel. If people want to look back in history and say what was done then should be done now, then they should go forward and do that.
But shouldn't they then also look at allegations against your husband and others? Because some feel that it's a double standard.
I don't think so, Rita. I mean, everything was investigated. Everything was investigated, and I think that's the big difference. So, with somebody else
she laughs. It's my favorite.
70, then they should go forward and do that.
But shouldn't they then also look at allegations against your husband and others? Because some feel that it's a double standard.
I don't think so, Rita. I mean, everything was investigated. Everything was investigated, and I think that's the big difference. So when somebody else is investigated to the tune of $70 million and a special prosecutor who wants to prosecute and a partisan Republican Party that wants to impeach, that's the parallel. And the people of the United States rejected it. The Senate rejected it, but he was held accountable, and he paid a price for it, as was appropriate.
Do you regret, though?
She talks in circles, right? He was held accountable, but everyone rejected it. Nothing happened, but he was held accountable. How was he held accountable exactly? I'm curious. Leon Panetta said the same thing, and then maybe I'll go back to that interview. Leon Panetta said the same damn thing. Here, I'll play it.
A reporter that
trying to figure out
sex scandal should have cost him the presidency, that he should have resigned in the wake of the Monica Lewinsky affair. I asked the man who served as President Clinton's chief of staff for his take.
My own judgment with regards to President Clinton is that he more than paid the price for what he did. The fact that he went through an impeachment process as President of the United States, the House of Representatives voted for articles of impeachment. The Senate did not. But the mere fact that he went through an impeachment process as president means that there will always be a shadow on the legacy of his presidency. So at least,
anyway,
from my point of view, I think he's more than paid the price.
So that's the story from the left, anyway, from Leon Panetta. Let me pause this. He's more than paid the price. He had higher approval ratings after... He had the highest approval rating ever after that impeachment trial. And all the victims that came forward were thrown away like the trash. Let me go back to that interview, though. I have more. Let me make sure I'm playing the right part of it. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of it that's really good. And they're going to go into Uranium One.
Not... maybe, saying something, I guess, supportive of the women, because you've always said that women should be believed. And yet George Stephanopoulos and others have said that you were part of sort of the attacking the victims, the people who are making allegations against your husband. Do you regret that?
Look, I think every situation has to be judged on its own merits. And there were allegations that were disproved. There were allegations that were absolutely contradicted under sworn testimony. So, of course, you should give, people who make such allegations the benefit of the doubt. That's what our system does. But then you have to investigate them, and that fully happened in the late 90s. And what we've got here is something very different. There's been no commitment to investigate the more than a dozen women who have made charges against President Trump, and there's been no effort to really go into and understand what he was talking about in his Hollywood Access tape. So I just they're not parallel, and I think it's unfortunate that
it's a right-wing conspiracy.
People are either misremembering or misinterpreting history, because the country remembers it. The country went through it, and it was a painful period. The Republicans spent tens of millions of dollars looking at every part of our lives, and we all know what they found. And that was, based on those allegations that were provable and the many that were not. And this is a distraction that we shouldn't fall for, because if you're going to hold people to the same standard, there's a lot of parallels that are not being followed.
I mean, she can't keep her shit together at all.
And Secretary Clinton, what would you say, though, specifically to Senator Kirsten Gillibrand? Because, she's a longtime ally, friend, and also even took your Senate seat.
Well, she has been a friend, and Bill and I have supported her over the years. We both have campaigned for her and raised money for her. And obviously, I think the history of the 90s reaches different conclusions. That's what impeachment and a trial is meant to determine what should happen, and it did determine that. And I think we ought to now look at what's happening today and learn from history where we can. And if we're going to be serious about holding people accountable, have a process to do that.
Are you surprised, though, that she has made these comments?
Oh, as I said, I don't exactly know what she was trying to say.
I just want to play that again. I don't exactly know what she was trying to say. It wasn't that hard to figure out. Okay, she said, do you believe in, zero tolerance for this thing? And she said, or I forget exactly what. And she said, well, yeah, but
let me ask you
not
about
for,
Al Franken.
Based on that behavior,
let me get
that to be investigated,
the uranium
and
one.
To take the consequences.
Oh,
is
zero
the kind
tolerance
of accountability
here.
I'm talking about. I don't hear that from Roy Moore or
This is a
Donald
good
Trump.
question.
Do you?
Do you agree that there should be zero tolerance for sexual harassment and sexual assault?
Absolutely. Women have to be protected. They have to be able to work comfortably in any work setting, any kind of social setting. And
How
of course, there
duplicitous
should
can she be?
Not only no tolerance, there should be an absolute understanding that there will be accountability. And again, when credible allegations come forward, look at the contrast between Al Franken accepting responsibility, apologizing, and Roy Moore and Donald Trump, who have done neither.
Well, of course, President Trump has said it was locker room talk, and Al Franken is a sitting senator, and there's that picture, too, of him, which looks like that he is groping the radio host Leanne Tweeden.
Well, I don't see it the way you just described it, Rita.
No.
I think when
And he
someone
wasn't
admits
groping
to
her.
sexual assault and more than a dozen women come forward with very specific allegations, that's not locker room talk. And that certainly is more than what we know so far about Al Franken. So, look, there's a double standard. I get it. The Republicans deny, and divert, and they get away with it because the press is more concerned about somebody who accepted responsibility than people who will refuse to accept responsibility and instead attack the
uranium
the women
one
who
coming
have made
up.
the allegations against them, and that has to stop.
I think
there
it's
should be
coming
no
up right
double
now.
standard. If you're going to hold somebody accountable, hold them accountable, and without regard to their partisan affiliation.
Let me ask you, if I could, about the uranium one, because I know you've been asked some general questions, but I just have 2 or 3 specific ones, Secretary Clinton. One is the former head of the Kazakh Atomic Energy Agency. He said that you, as senator, canceled meetings with Kazakh officials and would not meet with them until uranium assets were transferred to Frank Giustra. He's the Canadian businessman. And then 2 months after those assets were transferred, the businessman donated $30 million to the Clinton Foundation. What do you say to people who say that that just seems unseemly?
I don't know what he's talking about, so I can't respond
There you go.
to it. Let's talk about
Laugh.
uranium.
I don't know what he's talking about. That was a pretty good accusation. I hadn't heard that one yet. You think Rita Cosby was nervous? I don't know Rita Cosby, but she asked good questions. I like it. I don't know what she's talking about. Let's see if she says that under oath.
And all of the wild accusations. Let's remember
Vast right-wing
that
conspiracy.
it started out as a Steve Bannon Breitbart project that was designed to hurl false allegations against me. It got into the mainstream press because the New York Times made a deal with Breitbart, and that doesn't get enough attention. The Times, really got in bed with Breitbart and the far right, and they should hold themselves accountable for getting the story so wrong. Just a few days ago, one of the commentators on Fox News called the accusations inaccurate, did a very compelling takedown of the story based on the facts. Trey Gowdy, congressman from South Carolina, no friend of mine, and no stranger to wasting taxpayer dollars on politically motivated investigations, said that a special counsel was not warranted. So what we have here is exactly what it looks like. It's a political stunt by the
Vast
Trump administration
right-wing conspiracy.
and its allies to distract from the very serious information coming out about the Trump campaign's connections with Russia. They don't want the press and the public paying attention to what we're learning about their involvement with Russia. And I wrote about this in the book. I have a whole chapter on Russia, and if any of your listeners are still scratching their heads, I hope they'll read it because, you know, when I started out talking about the connections with Russia, a lot of people, you know, really just dismissed them. They couldn't believe it, and I understand why. It was pretty outlandish to think that a political candidate and his campaign would be conspiring with a foreign adversary to win an election.
She did.
But, was there anything, Secretary Clinton, to this allegation specifically? Was there anything to? Can you understand why people?
Rita, I don't know. Rita, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard that. I don't know anything about that, and it's part of the whole Uranium One, confusion. And so, no, I don't know anything about it. I do know that this whole thing has been investigated repeatedly, and it's been debunked repeatedly.
Can I ask you just on the surface, because one of the things that people...
Okay, all right, you guys heard it. She asked something. I have one more clip from it. I know you don't like hearing Hillary Clinton's voice, but
you know, I can't
right
stop,
around here,
the Justice Department and the White House from trying to throw sand in the eyes of people.
Let me ask you, Secretary Clinton, I know you've said a number of harsh things about President Trump. Is there anything you admire that you think he's done well as president?
No. The answer is absolutely no, Rita, and I don't say that with any joy. I respect the office. I think he has disgraced the office. I think he has behaved in a way that is not in keeping with our Constitution. He has failed to enforce laws like sanctions on Russia that the Congress overwhelmingly passed. He has used the office to enrich himself and his family and his business.
Everything that she did.
Deeply disappointed.
Everything
I didn't
that
think
she
he'd
did.
be a good president, but I didn't think he'd be as bad as he's turned out to be.
Everything that she does. That's how it is. That's how it is on that side. Okay, regarding Uranium One, Sean Hannity talked about there are two things. Something where in these documents that came out, this thing about the investigation being given special status, I would ignore that news. I read from the documents and I read an analysis of it on the Hill, which said that wasn't a big deal, but it is a big deal that these guys have apparently this FBI informant who now has been identified has video of somebody opening suitcases full of money. Now he's been identified. He's really sick, which worries me because I'd like him to get on the witness stand, and they talk about that. So this is the latest news, and you'll hear these reporters from the Hill talk about what kind of information they have to back up the Russian Uranium One deal bribery scandal.
Has released the name of the FBI informant, the one that had the NDA lifted. John is also reporting that tonight the Democratic senator from the state of California, Dianne Feinstein, wants to speak with him. Joining us now, the Hill's John Solomon.
I'll be taking calls later, by the way. We'll be taking calls probably soon after this.
With investigative reporter Sarah Carter. I don't even know where to begin. The fact that this informant's name was released, that's troublesome to me. But more troublesome, I'll let you both address this, John, first. More troublesome is the fact that their Justice Department is leaking, oh, he doesn't have any information, when I know that's a lie.
Yeah, no, you're right, Sean. We have seen the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, try to say there's no connection between Uranium One and the Mikoyan Russian bribery case. We've seen the Deputy Attorney General say that, and now we saw two anonymous officials in a Reuters story saying that. And what we'll say back to that is I think people should tune into the Hill next week. We'll show people the real FBI documents, what the FBI learned in real time about the Russian bribery case and its connection to Uranium One. There'll be no doubt about it when we put those documents into the public domain.
I've said to you, you guys are going to be Woodward and Bernstein by the time this is all over. And Sarah, let me get your take on this. You know who the FBI informant is. You both know. You have both talked to him. We know who the attorney is. How extensive? They're trying to downplay what he has. Sarah, how extensive is it? And what do you think of the release of his name?
Well, I know he's very concerned about the release of his name. He did not authorize that, although he was contacted by the reporter from Reuters. I spoke to him and asked him, what would you want me to say? And this was through his attorney when I speak to Sean tonight. And one of the things that he'd like to get out there is, you know, at the time that the reporter contacted him, you know, he's been terribly ill. He's been battling cancer. He's been in a battle not only with the U.S. government, but he is very sick, and he's been battling cancer and going through chemo. And, you know, all of these now are coming out. So he is in a battle for not only his life, but in a battle against what he perceives as people within the U.S. government that don't want the story to come out. But there is so much information, Sean, that he is willing to share with the public to set the record straight. And believe me, we're going to get it out there. He is going to have his say. His voice will be heard.
4 years an informant. He knew about the bribery, extortion, kickbacks, money laundering of Putin's agents, if you will, in the U.S.?
Yes. And he will be able to lay that all out for everyone, and he will do that for Congress, and specifically for Congress. And I know, you know, John and I have been working on this for months and months and months. Another clarification in the story, they called him a lobbyist. He was not a lobbyist. He was a consultant, which was very different. And remember, he was the one that came to the U.S. government. He came to the Justice Department with this information.
I'm guessing, John, at the end of this FBI informant is going to end up being the hero that helps the... Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know whether here, I mean, that's other people's decisions to put white hats and black hats on people, but he is going to be an extraordinary fact witness because he gathered so much information. There are videotapes where the Russians are opening up briefcases full of cash. These are the people that we then gave uranium to, that we then gave nuclear fuel contracts to. When people see these videotapes...
All this is happening before they sign off on uranium. That's right. They knew about bribery, extortion, kickbacks, money laundering before. They knew this was Putin. They did it anyway. The Russians must think we are really dumb.
That's funny that you would say that, Sean, because there was a conversation that the informant attended where they actually said that about Americans, and we'll be reporting on that soon. But the Russians really thought they had played America on this one.
Wow. All right. We will get to the bottom of this. Let me...
Okay. So that's the news on Uranium One. Apparently, The Hill will be publishing a lot of FBI documents that reveal... a direct connection to Uranium One and the Russian bribery scheme. We have that coming this week, Thanksgiving week. Watch out. This time, I've predicted the end of the world 3 days so far this month. All of them so far incorrect. But watch out Thanksgiving Day. We'll see. We're still waiting for something big to happen. And when something big does happen, make sure to tune into one of my channels. So subscribe to this one. And make sure you turn on the notifications, and that or twitch.tv/lifttheveil411, where I'll be live, hopefully, indefinitely, without strikes and so forth, like they do here on YouTube. So I will be taking calls. I'm going to talk about the giant dick, the chemtrail dick. I don't know how this can be, you know, our society is so destroyed. Here it is. A Navy pilot drew this giant dick in the sky. Maybe I'll turn on my phone. Let me show you the phone number. Oh, and let me throw up the Discord invite. Discord is a great place to meet people. Everybody enjoys it there. To meet people who are like-minded, I should say, or similarly minded, or maybe even just open-minded. Unlike people you may have in your own life. So that invite is right here, and you just type it in with the lowercase and uppercase letters the way it shows, and then you'll basically time warp into the LTV chat, which has a number of subsections where people talk about all kinds of crap. Okay, oh, let me open the phone if I'm going to say it's open. People know the number already. It's 650-GAY-TAXI. 650-429-8294. Hopefully I have enough stuff on my screen right now, including Doshi. I can add my website too, if you'd like, and my UK phone number, and my website. I'm just doing it for fun. I don't need to throw all that stuff up there. Here, let's get that out of there. Giant dick in the sky, were you guys thinking about that? I think... Nobody's mentioning the fact that it's chemtrails. The guy turned on his chemtrail jet right there and then drew a penis out of chemtrail. And nobody's saying, hey, it's chemtrails, y'all. And then turned it off, I guess. Turned off the, you know, just to show you that it's not a condensation trail. There's a close-up of it. Do you think he did it in protest? This is what I'm thinking. Maybe he did it in protest of chemtrailing. Because he's like, I'm laying down freaking chemtrails. I'm going to show him what's up. I mean, really, guys. That's what he did. A giant chemtrail penis. I'm thinking about getting a booth at the local cop to be disciplined for Islamophobic Twitter account. Shocking. I might make a booth at my local, what do you call it? Farmers market, where people set up booths and stuff to promote different things like atheism, and one maybe with chemtrails. Maybe. I can be like the guy in the tinfoil hat. 650-429-8294. You can call me to talk about whatever. I'm going to have a guest on the show tomorrow, Steve Outtrim. He's really a know-it-all. Like, he has the big picture, knows about how intelligence agencies work very intricately and what the master plan is. But tomorrow we'll probably talk about, he's not American. I think he's Australian, not from New Zealand. Although I get those mixed up sometimes. But he loves, oh, you know what? Oh, no, everything's open. I thought maybe people were trying to call. Weird. People normally call in faster. Oh, but he's a huge Trump supporter. So I'm going to talk to him about why. He's MAGA all the way. And I'm MAGA half the way these days. Because I hope that he gets all the criminals and scumbags. But I don't know about the indictments. I don't know about the storm. I don't know about Q. People in the chat are wishing I talked about Q. I did talk about him earlier, and I have been talking about him on various shows. I don't know what he said recently. Should I look? I don't even know. It's hard to even find his stuff because it gets deleted. Q clearance, Patriot 4chan. Let's see if there's anything recent. I'll look under images. What's this? Oh, there we go. I'll look.
Calling mobile.
This is Nathan. You're on the air.
Are you guys thinking about that? Yeah, how you doing?
Doing great.
Bob from Minneapolis. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Listen, the guy from End Times Report that you talked about earlier, he's got to be controlled opposition. He's the only guy that was able to get all these Vegas videos on. He's had it since day one. And if he's the one that posted the picture earlier in the show where they got the policeman behind the police car and under the police car, they're not showing the whole picture, because I actually sent that picture to people in my family showing how funny it was. Right. There's a guy talking on the cell phone about 3 feet behind that police car, a civilian.
Right.
So he's leaving part of the picture out.
You think so? Yeah. Okay. So
definitely, I have the picture. So he definitely left it out. And the guy looks like he's just casually standing there on his cell phone. He's either taking a picture of these policemen doing this pose, or he's talking on his cell phone, one or the other.
Right. Well, I had the same questions about Jake Morphonios, because I was wondering, because I got kicked off YouTube and everybody else did too for talking about it. And then that's why I moved to Twitch and then was deleting my shows. And so I have questions about him. He talks about, but he hasn't been on Alex Jones. He talked about Alex Jones in one show. And he did reference Laura Loomer, who I think is part of the controlled op. But he seems like he's giving good information up until this last one, which I think it might be a bit of a reach.
He's giving safe information if you want to play along with this story, that, he got into there was 2 shooters. Well, you know what? In my opinion, there's no shooters, there's no bodies, there's no bullets, there's no bullet holes. And until I see them for real, I'm not going to believe it.
Right.
And, so of course he's going to get away with his videos.
Right. Well, that's a popular point of view from the other side. I had a guy I listened to. So I believe you believe that, and I screwed up. I have to kill this call.
That's all right. I'll let you go.
No. You don't need to go. I was just going to say, this guy basically proposed that the story about it being fake was a psyop in and of itself, and that people, and that that was just to confuse the issue. And I've seen enough evidence and heard from enough witnesses and stuff, and I have seen one video, and I've shown it before, that I think appears to show a real nasty bullet wound. But I understand. I would have thought first thing that with the apparent crisis actors and all the fake injured even in the hospital, that it was. But I think there's some confusion around it. So just keep an open mind about that. But you're right. Anybody who did call it fake got shut down pretty much.
Right. Right. So, that's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Everything he said was safe, and it was like you could see it on mainstream media. So
right.
That's why he was shut down. He didn't tell us much, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, it could be.
All right. Good talking to you, buddy.
Thanks, Bob. All right. See ya. But he also did talk about being gang stalked and having his tires slashed and stuff. So I don't know. Certainly, I don't think I've said anything, or even that caller saying that is anything that's against the rules or anything. It just seems like people are able to say some things, as long as you don't say people didn't die, or there are just certain things, I guess. But you can say that it was a false flag, apparently. People are saying that. I have to be more careful than most, the way my channel seems to have been targeted, but... gay taxi. 650-429-8294. Thanks for tuning in on a Sunday. I got a bunch of new subscribers. So maybe if you're a new subscriber, awesome. Thank you. Welcome. Thanks for listening to my live show too. If you're a new subscriber. I've been getting a few the last few days. This is a good audience for a Sunday. What else do I need to remind you about? Just if you want to support the show, you could get some stickers or something. Those are cheap to mail, and but the t-shirts are cool too because they're limited edition. They make good stocking stuffers. And I mail them out pretty quick. So all in all, it's a really good service. It's a really great brand. The t-shirts come with their signed, stamped, not the shirt itself, but you get a signed, stamp, numbered tag on it, so you know that you got a limited edition. And then when we get that stuff sold, then that's when we can get Doshi stuff. Right now, we're just establishing the brand with some outstanding gear and stickers. Did I show them to you? I'll show you. I'll show you on the skateboard. See? Let me see if it zooms in. There. See? They're really high quality, actually. I don't skateboard, but I happen to have one. It's thrashed up. But 650-429. I don't know where my phone calls are today. This is Nathan. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Rich? It's Victor.
Hey, Victor. What's up, man?
I just haven't been listening a lot. Been busy. How's everything?
Everything's great. As good as it can be. I'm building up another new channel, and the usual stuff, the usual travails.
I wanted to go through something your way, Rich. I'm order 10 shirts and 10 cups. 10 of your mugs.
Holy cow! Okay.
You can just give them away to the forum people. I'm not even home. I'm not even watching you.
Oh, okay.
I got the alert you were on, so.
Okay. Oh,
I don't know what you're playing, but just you got my number. You could just send me the price, whatever the numbers, and the quantity of the money.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. All right.
Take care of it.
All right, sweet. I'll do that.
Just a gift for the New Year's. And you keep up a good work.
All right, thanks, Victor. That's awesome. I'll have to calculate some special shipping for that, but I'll figure it out. Okay, great.
Everything, and 3, 5 whites. I guess whatever the forum wants, your people there.
What's that? Say that one more time.
Maybe you could raffle them out to your people there and all that.
Okay. All right. Cool, man. I'll send you an email.
One more thing.
Yeah.
You know what? I've been watching the nanobots and all that, and it's getting pretty dangerous with this IA, whatever it is, IA or whatever. AI, whatever.
AI. Yeah. I should talk about that more. Maybe I'll get a guest on my show. Maybe Steve Outram will talk about that too. That's a big theme these days. And you sent me the same video that that somebody else sent me and really wanted me to play, and maybe I'll play it for people because I've been asked to play it a number of times now. So yeah, that's interesting that everybody's interested in that, and AI has gotten such a is such a prominent issue that people are talking about right now. So I'll try to play that video now so people can see what it's about.
All right, Rich, I'm on the road, but take care and say everybody on the forum, and I'll take care of that. You know, you got my number.
All right, Victor.
Okay?
Thanks. All right, see ya.
Take care.
He you know, since he's buying cups for me, I didn't correct that he kept calling me Rich. I can be Rich for that. Victor's a nice guy. 10 cups, 10 mugs, 10 t-shirts. I'll be sold out. Hold on, I'm trying to find this dang. I've been sent the dang. Oh, you know what? I can go to my email. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Should I? Phone's open for right now. And then I'll try to find that video. Okay, yeah, go to my email. Rich. Funny. Let's see. Is it here? Let's see if I find it. Oh, I remember. I think it was a text message. That's why. Thanks for joining me on Twitch, by the way. Thanks for following. It's a different kind of an audience on Twitch, for sure. There's something there. So it's for video games, Twitch is. But there's something there called IRL, in real life, and people are going there in droves. I have over 50 people watching on Twitch right now. Hello, Twitchers. Thanks for watching. The other choices are, I have to show you some of the other choices on Twitch. I wonder if this one girl is streaming. Hold on. I'm going through, I'm going all over the place, aren't I? Okay, over here, I should have a message. No. Okay, then over here, I should have a message. No. Unless it loads up. About these bots, about these AI attack bots. I research a lot of stuff, by the way. I've been watching a lot of videos and listening to a lot of people who seem pretty smart, just to keep myself in the know. Smart grid, AI, those are popular topics. 5G, that's a popular topic. Oh man, it's not in my history. Okay, it's called... Is my phone open? I might have closed it. If it's still open, that's embarrassing. 650-429-8294. People say the phone calls are the best part of the show, typically. Okay, I got it. Should be in my darn... Should be right here. It isn't, though. Okay. Okay, if I get it to open on YouTube. Slaughterbots. Okay, Slaughterbots. Well, I'll close the phone for now. Think about calling, though, and I'll open it up after this video. Let me show you a video people are excited about. They think it's the end of the world. I think it's not the end of the world. I don't think AI is... Well, Quinn, I talked to Quinn personally on Discord, and he thinks he's in the middle of saving the world right now, from what I can tell.
Video from a plaintruth.info. Today we're getting into swarm bots, also called slaughter bots, a new term.
This isn't the thing. Swarm bots or slaughter bots. Here it is. Stop autonomous weapons. Okay. Okay. Quinn Michaels, who was on the Jason Goodman show, a bunch of people might have seen, thinks AI is going to take over the world. I know Quinn. I met him. And he tends to think that, and he might be right, and had me convinced too at one time, because I had a problem with AI bots. For some reason, the problem stopped for now. And I may have had a problem with people pretending to be bots to some extent too. And in the end, I decided my problem was with people more than AI. All the same, AI is starting to go through some transitions that people say is a singularity. You need to invest in cryptocurrency. It's a side note, but related. Apparently that cryptocurrency and AI are taking over the world. This is something people are concerned about, something called slaughter bots. I'll play it for you. 7 minutes.
Customer pilots directed almost 3,000 precision strikes last year. We're super proud of it. It allows you to separate the bad guys from the good. It's a big deal. But we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that?
And yes, this is a dramatization, by the way. This is a dramatization, which is why I didn't want to watch it the first time I looked at it. But again, people are talking about it. People are talking about it. Enough people talked about it that I figured I should play it for you. But this is not real life. And I'm aware that it's not real life. Now you're aware of that. It's kind of like, it reminds me of Iron Man. It's like the Iron Man demonstration, basically, where they have the autonomous robot. It's really no different.
To penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. They used to say guns don't kill people. People do. Well, people don't. They get emotional, disobey orders, aim high. Let's watch the weapons make the decisions. Now, trust me, these were all bad guys. Now, that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped. Now, I said this was big. Why? Because we are thinking big. Watch. A $25 million order now buys this. Enough to kill half a city. The bad half. Nuclear is obsolete. Take out your entire enemy, virtually risk-free. Just characterize him, release the swarm, and rest easy. These are available today. We have a distribution network taking orders from military, law enforcement, and specialist clients.
The nation is still recovering from yesterday's incident, which officials are describing as some kind of automated attack, which killed 11 U.S. senators at the Capitol building.
They flew in from everywhere but attacked just one side of the aisle. It was chaos. People were screaming.
You can see high windows, very small, precisely punctured to gain entry to the building.
What did you do for the victim?
I just did what I could for him. Things weren't even interested in me. They're just buzzing.
There was still there was an empty
shoe.
shoe.
The community has no idea who perpetrated the attack. nor whether it was a state, group, or even a single individual.
So if we can't defend ourselves, then we strike back.
We are investing very heavily in classified defense projects.
We make it our deterrent like our nuclear deterrent. We stockpile in the millions, the billions.
At key facilities, the White House, the New York Stock Exchange, Wall Street.
Safe in their homes.
Well, we wish we had boots on the ground in every community in this country, but we don't. So our instructions,
Ollie?
our suggestions are to stay in touch with
Ollie, oh, hi. Hi, Ollie, honey. How's Edinburgh today? How are all your studies going, huh?
Good. Great.
Oh, great. Hey, aren't we doing a video call today?
I'm kind of with people, so...
Oh, well, come on, Oliver, put her on.
Oh, no, it's not like that. No, wait.
Oh, well, listen, I see some photos here with somebody, and I can see lots of likes, and what's that all about? Oh, wait a minute, here, and on your
Mom, she's on the spy stuff in the military?
What is this video right here? Oh, no, I'm not going to click on that.
It's just this human rights thing about oppression or whatever.
Honey, you're not going into politics, are you? I mean, no protest.
It's safe here, just like you said it would be.
Heavy traffic approaching the A720 this morning due to police.
Police are not saying this morning what prompted the alert.
Claim relaxing firearm legislation would be useless against the so-called slaughter bots.
Just to stay away from crowds.
All right.
When indoors, keep
All right, good enough. You guys had enough. Slaughter bots, automated bots come and kill you. Yada, yada, yada. Basically, we get into a minority report type of situation, pre-crime, etc. We are going that way. That's what they say smart cities are about. Being managed by the AI, catching pre-crime, making sure you stay in line. No guns, apparently, in a smart city. 5G, smart meters. That's now. And they can make that stuff really easily. I don't know how long one of those things could last. You know, it would need a battery. But battery technology, if that gets better, then watch out. 650-429-8294. I guess I'll take one more call. It's one of those days it's a little light on phone calls. Then I'll sign out, I guess, after an hour and a half. Catch me tomorrow. I mean, I'm planning to be here. And make sure to subscribe and hit the notification thing. And then look for me when shit hits the fan. If it happens on Thursday, man, I have to do some traveling. I don't know. I need to be at my workstation. But we'll figure that out. Things will be the way they will be. And who knows if it'll happen Thursday. Nothing ever happens when you think it will. In the Bible, it says you do not know the day or hour. But I'm telling you, I think something's coming. A lot of people have been saying that. Q's kind of been saying that. I'm watching Doshi. Oops. There's a call. This is Nathan. You're on the air.
Hey, buddy, you got a snazzy looking shirt there.
Oh, thanks, man. Do you have one of them yet, Espada?
I actually plan on buying a bunch of stuff at once. I don't know. I'm like a bulk person.
Great.
I have like 8 cell phone chargers because I lose them, and then I find them, and then I loan them out, and then sometimes I get them back, and then sometimes I forget where I leave them. And then I just buy stuff in bulk.
Okay, cool. Well, that's okay. We can fulfill orders in bulk. Just be careful. Stuff sells out. It's limited edition. Anyway, what's up?
I wanted to talk about chemtrails.
Okay, great. Do you want to talk about chemtrail dicks in the sky?
Well, not necessarily penises, but just period.
Okay. Go
and
ahead.
I'm pretty sure it's just my opinion, and people can call in and debate what they want, but I think I've thought of a way to disprove them.
You can debunk chemtrails. Everyone's excited to hear this.
Oh, also, do you know about the soldiers being deployed from Langley?
Soldiers being deployed from Langley right now?
Well, yeah, someone's posted it in Discord and news, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then someone was asking in chat, so I wanted to...
I'll look. I don't know.
Form.
I haven't heard anything about it, no.
Well, as far as the chemtrails thing goes,
yes, debunk chemtrails.
What I thought about were just getting a cup, keeping it out of the wind, and letting it collect stuff for a couple days or for a week, pulling it out and throwing it under a microscope.
Oh, you mean to have proof that the particles that people say fall to Earth? Yeah, I don't know that that would debunk chemtrails entirely. I don't know that there's any evidence. Well, people say they're finding these heavy metals in the soil. Forget all the names. Barium, strontium, that kind of thing, or aluminum. But I don't know. They spray it so high that I even have some difficulty about thinking about it coming to the ground. I think they're at 50,000 feet. And stratospheric, what do they call them? Injections, something, SAIs, stratospheric aerosol injections, which they write about in a Harvard paper as maybe being a thing. I think they're so high that they wouldn't necessarily come to Earth. So your experiment wouldn't even. To me, I'd still say chemtrails are real, and that experiment doesn't show anything. Do you have anything else? How do they stay in the sky? How do they stay in the sky? How does it stay in the sky so long if it's just water vapor? How do they turn it on and off if it's just water vapor? I watched somebody doing that the other day in the sky. Shouldn't it be a water vapor the whole time? I mean, shouldn't there always be a contrail? If it's contrail?
Well, if it's water vapor, then it turns to ice. Then it should come down until it melts.
Right, which is pretty quick, right?
Yeah, and then think about how some chemtrails or contrails, or whatever anyone thinks they are, some last for like seconds, and then some last for like minutes.
Exactly. Some last for hours when they're chemtrails, and then they turn into chemtrail clouds, those wispy clouds. You don't think they're real, though, huh? Well, you think it's just ice crystals?
No.
You think it's ice crystals?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. We accept all kinds of different opinions on this show, even people who deny chemtrails. We are open to that. Well, I used to be. I can understand. There's hope for you. Maybe when I set up a booth, if I had a booth set up, then I could explain it to you with a pamphlet or something, like a Hare Krishna.
Sure.
Maybe I'll go door to door and talk to people about chemtrails and have them look up. Maybe on a day that there's like, say, what do you think that is? All right.
Well,
anything else?
Sorry.
No. I was asking a rhetorical question. You have anything else for me today, the Espada?
Oh. What is the gray state? Someone, Shoni, whatever her name is, mentioned the gray state.
Whatever her name is. You only talk to her every day. Mention the gray state? I don't know what that is.
Well, I don't know. Well, I'm just messing with her. Oh. Okay, well, I didn't know if it was something like the deep state, because I'd never heard of it.
Oh, I see. The gray state? I don't know. We must have a delay, too. I think that's what's going on with the sound here. I don't know what the gray state is. So.
Yeah, I actually do, because our phone's hooked up through the internet, so someone's on the internet. So that's why sometimes that's why I have issues.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go, the Espada. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay.
Take it easy.
See ya. Okay.
Bye.
Okay, I think I had like a 3-second delay. Not too bad. Phones open. We'll see. People say the phone calls are the best part of the show. I always hear that. Or Doshi's the best part of the show. You'll have to vote in the comments what you think is the best part of the show. Phone calls or Doshi. Or what you'd rather. It's not even an argument, is it? Okay. Well, you could still answer that poll, but I know how it's going to go. Follow me on Twitter. Sign up for my newsletter. Do all kinds of stuff while you're here. Send me some Bitcoin if you want, if it's burning a hole in your pocket. Or LiteCoin or Ethereum, which are cheaper to send. I have the addresses for those coins in my description for this video. And people have been kind enough to give me Bitcoin in the past. And I believe in the cryptocurrencies for sure. I like LiteCoin. They're all doing pretty well lately. So, and I told people about them some moons ago when they were much lower than they are now. So those people owe me a commission. Maybe. I'm trying to do the show full time. I mean, I do it full time. I'm trying to move out of my dad's garage. I don't live in the garage. I just do my show there. It's not that bad. It's really nice outside and inside and everything. We don't have chemtrail penises in the sky, but we do have a lot of chemtrails, at least lately. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know if it's indicative of a false flag coming. Okay, you guys bore me. I'm going to go. Thanks for tuning in for the live show. Thanks for your phone calls. Thanks for subscribing. Let me clean up the screen before I get out of here. Go to Discord if you want to continue the conversation with other like-minded people. That's right here. You can pause the screen on that. Twitch.tv, especially if you're an Amazon Prime member. It would just be great if you went over there, connected your Prime account, and then subscribed to my channel, which is different than follow. It makes me money, apparently. Doesn't cost you anything. So do that. That'd be cool. And then make sure to think, and then if you want, you can, I've said it a lot about different ways, but you can go to paypal.me/lifttheveil or Patreon also to support the show. And God bless everybody, even those who don't support financially. Thank you for your other support and for tuning into the show when it's on. I love you guys. Okay. I'll see you. I plan to see you tomorrow, Monday, 20th, and I would like you to tune into this channel anytime you see news break. I'll try to be live as soon as I can. That's what it is.